You wake up in the morning and the first thing you do is check your phone. You scroll through your feed for a few minutes, grab your coffee, go to work, come home, watch something on TV, and go to sleep. Tomorrow, you do the exact same thing, and the day after that too. You call this living, but actually, you're sleeping. And here's the part that's going to shock you. Your subconscious mind is controlling every single second of that routine. Every decision you think you're making consciously, it was already decided milliseconds before by your subconscious. Every pattern you repeat, it was programmed decades ago. Every limitation you accept as reality, it's just code running in the background of your mind. In just a few minutes, I'm going to show you something that will turn your understanding upside down. Something that 99% of people get completely wrong about the power of the subconscious mind. And when you truly understand this, when you finally see how it really works, you'll never accept being a passenger in your own life again. But I need to warn you about something. Once you see what I'm about to show you, you can't unsee it. The person you've been pretending to be, the comfortable lies you tell yourself about why things are the way they are, they won't survive what I'm about to reveal. You see, right now, as you're listening to this, your subconscious is processing over 11 million bits of information per second. Your conscious mind? It can barely handle 40. Think about that for a moment. Your subconscious is processing 275,000 times more information than your conscious mind every single second. And yet we've been taught to believe that our conscious thoughts are what shape our reality. That's like believing the CEO of a massive corporation makes every single decision in the company. The truth is, there's an entire infrastructure running beneath the surface, making thousands of decisions, processing countless pieces of information, and determining the direction of everything. And the CEO barely knows it exists. But here's where it gets really interesting. Most people think the subconscious mind is just some mysterious force that occasionally gives them intuitive hunches or weird dreams. They treat it like it's some mystical entity that they can't control or understand. And that right there is the biggest mistake you can make. Because your subconscious isn't mysterious. It's not mystical. It's the most powerful, sophisticated operating system that has ever existed, and it's running your life right now whether you realize it or not. The question isn't whether it has power over you. The question is, are you going to learn how to work with it, or are you going to keep fighting against it? You know that feeling when you walk into a room and you just know something's off? When you meet someone and instantly feel like you can trust them or you can't? When you're about to make a decision and something in your gut tells you to stop? That's not magic. That's your subconscious mind processing thousands of micro-signals, comparing them to every experience you've ever had, and giving you a conclusion faster than your conscious mind could even begin to comprehend what's happening. But here's what nobody tells you about this incredible system you've got running inside your head. It doesn't distinguish between what's real and what's imagined. It doesn't know the difference between a memory and a visualization. It can't tell if something happened to you or if you just watched it in a movie. And it absolutely cannot process negative commands. Think about this. If I tell you right now, don't think about a pink elephant, what's the first thing that pops into your mind? A pink elephant, right? That's because your subconscious heard pink elephant and immediately created that image. It completely ignored the don't part. Now imagine you've been telling yourself for years, I don't want to be broke, I don't want to be alone, I don't want to fail. What do you think your subconscious has been focusing on? It's been creating and reinforcing images of being broke, being alone, and failing. And then you wonder why those things keep showing up in your life. This is where most people get it completely backwards. They think positive thinking means just repeating happy thoughts over and over again. They think if they just say, I am confident enough times, they'll magically become confident. But that's like trying to install new software on a computer while the old software is still running. It creates conflict, confusion, and usually, the old programming wins. Carl Jung, one of the most brilliant minds in psychology, discovered something that most people still don't understand today. He found that the subconscious mind isn't just personal. There's a layer beneath your individual subconscious that connects you to every human being who has ever lived. He called it the collective unconscious, and it contains what he termed archetypes, universal patterns of human experience that show up across every culture, every time period, every corner of the world. You've felt this before, even if you didn't know what it was. When you watch a movie and you're rooting for the underdog hero, when you feel drawn to stories of transformation and redemption, When something deep inside you responds to tales of courage and sacrifice, that's the collective unconscious speaking. These aren't just stories. They're blueprints for human potential that exist in the deepest layers of your mind. But here's the thing that changes everything. You can access these blueprints. You can tap into patterns of courage, wisdom, creativity, and power that have been proven to work across thousands of years of human experience. Most people never realize they have access to this incredible library of human potential sitting right there in their own minds. Instead, they stay stuck in the surface-level programming they picked up from their family, their school, their early experiences. They think those limited patterns are who they really are. But those aren't you. Those are just programs that got installed when you were too young to choose better ones. Let me take you back to when this all started. You're 7 years old, and you're excited about something you created. Maybe it's a drawing, maybe it's a story you wrote, maybe it's a song you made up. You run to show it to someone you love and trust, and they're busy. They look at it for half a second and say, "That's nice, honey, but mommy's working right now." In that moment, your subconscious mind makes a connection. When I create something and share it with excitement, I get rejected. And from that point forward, every time you feel the urge to create something, to share your ideas, to express yourself fully, there's this little voice that whispers, "Remember what happened last time? Better play it safe." But that wasn't truth. That was just one moment with one person who was dealing with their own stress and limitations. Yet your subconscious mind took that single data point and turned it into a rule about reality. And you've been living by that rule ever since, not even knowing it exists. This is happening in thousands of different ways throughout your childhood. Every time someone said you were too much or not enough, every time you tried something and failed, every time you saw someone else get rejected or criticized for standing out, your subconscious was taking notes. It was building a blueprint for how to survive in the world. And that blueprint prioritized safety over growth, fitting in over standing out, being small over being powerful. But here's what changes everything. That same subconscious mind that learned to keep you small can learn to make you powerful. Those same neural pathways that learned limitation can learn expansion. That same incredible processing power that's been running old programs can start running new ones. The difference is in how you approach it. Most people try to change from the conscious level. They make lists of goals, they set intentions, they try to willpower their way into new behaviors. And it works. For about 2 weeks. Then the old patterns kick back in and they're right back where they started, usually feeling worse about themselves than when they began. But what if instead of fighting against your subconscious mind, you learned to speak its language? What if instead of trying to override its programming, you gave it new programming that was so compelling, so aligned with what it actually wants, that it started working for your highest potential instead of against it? Your subconscious mind has 3 primary drives: to keep you safe, to conserve energy, and to seek pleasure while avoiding pain. Every behavior you have, every pattern you repeat, every automatic response you give, it all serves one of these 3 drives. The problem is, the strategies your subconscious learned when you were 5 years old aren't serving you anymore. When you were 5, avoiding conflict might have kept you safe. When you were 10, not standing out might have helped you fit in. When you were 15, staying quiet might have protected you from embarrassment. But now those same strategies are keeping you small, keeping you stuck, keeping you from becoming who you're really meant to be. The real breakthrough happens when you understand that your subconscious mind isn't your enemy. It's not trying to sabotage you, it's trying to protect you using outdated information. It's like having a security system that's still programmed for the house you lived in 20 years ago. The system works perfectly. It's just protecting the wrong place. So how do you update the system? How do you give your subconscious mind new information that serves who you're becoming instead of who you used to be? First, you have to understand that your subconscious mind learns through repetition, emotion, and imagery. It doesn't respond to logic or reasoning the way your conscious mind does. It responds to what feels real, what feels intense, and what gets repeated consistently over time. Think about how you learned to ride a bike. Nobody sat you down and explained the physics of balance and momentum. You got on the bike, you fell down, you got back up, you fell down again. Your subconscious mind was learning through experience, through repetition, through the physical reality of what worked and what didn't. And eventually, riding a bike became so automatic, that you could do it while thinking about something completely different. That's exactly how every other pattern in your life got programmed. Through repetition, through emotional intensity, through experiences that felt real to your nervous system. And that's exactly how you're going to reprogram them. But here's the key that most people miss. You can't just visualize your way to a new reality. Visualization without embodiment is just daydreaming. Your subconscious mind needs to feel the change in your body, in your nervous system, in your actual lived experience. When you imagine yourself being confident, your body needs to feel what confidence actually feels like. Your posture needs to change. Your breathing needs to shift. Your voice needs to carry a different tone. Your subconscious mind is always monitoring your internal state. And if your body is telling it one story while your mind is trying to tell it another, your body wins every time. This is why affirmations don't work for most people. They're standing in front of a mirror saying, "I am confident," while their shoulders are slouched, their voice is weak, and their nervous system is flooded with anxiety. Their subconscious mind is getting mixed signals, and it defaults to the signal that feels most real, which is usually the physical one. But when you align your body, your breath, your voice, and your visualization, when you create a full sensory experience of who you're becoming, that's when real change starts to happen. That's when your subconscious mind gets a clear, consistent message about the new reality you're creating. Let me give you an example of how powerful this can be. There was a study done with basketball players where they divided them into 3 groups. The first group practiced shooting free throws for an hour every day. The second group didn't practice at all. The third group spent an hour every day visualizing shooting perfect free throws, but they never touched a basketball. After 2 weeks, they tested all 3 groups. The group that didn't practice at all showed no improvement. The group that practiced physically improved by 24%. But here's what shocked the researchers. The group that only visualized improved by 23%. Their minds had created neural pathways for success without their bodies ever experiencing it. Now imagine what happens when you combine physical practice with mental rehearsal. When you embody the change you want to see while simultaneously programming your subconscious mind with detailed, sensory-rich visualizations of your new reality, that's when transformation stops being a hope and starts being an inevitability. But there's something even deeper happening here. When you start working with your subconscious mind instead of against it, you begin to access something that Jung called the transcendent function. This is your mind's ability to bridge the gap between your conscious awareness and your unconscious potential. It's where creativity comes from. It's where breakthrough insights originate. It's where you connect with capabilities you didn't even know you had. You've experienced this before. Maybe it was when you were in the flow state during a sport or a creative project. Maybe it was when you had a sudden insight that solved a problem you'd been struggling with for weeks. Maybe it was when you just knew exactly what to say in a difficult conversation, even though you'd never planned those words. That was your conscious and subconscious minds working together in perfect harmony. The goal isn't to control your subconscious mind. The goal is to communicate with it so clearly and consistently that it starts working toward the same objectives as your conscious mind. When that happens, you stop feeling like you're fighting against yourself. You stop experiencing internal conflict between what you want and what you do. You start feeling like all parts of you are moving in the same direction. And this is where the real magic happens. When your conscious and subconscious minds are aligned, you start noticing opportunities you never saw before. You start attracting people and situations that support your growth. You start making decisions that feel effortless, but lead to extraordinary results. It's not because the universe is conspiring to help you. It's because you're finally using the full capacity of your own mind. Most people are operating at maybe 10% of their mental capacity. They're using their conscious mind to try to force changes while their subconscious mind is running old programs that work against those changes. It's like trying to drive a car with the parking brake on. You can do it, but it's exhausting, inefficient, and you're not going to get very far. But when you release that parking brake, when you get your subconscious mind working with you instead of against you, that's when you realize what you're actually capable of. That's when you understand why some people seem to effortlessly create success, while others struggle their entire lives despite working twice as hard. The difference isn't talent. The difference isn't luck. The difference isn't even effort. The difference is alignment. The difference is having all parts of your mind working toward the same goal instead of fighting each other. So here's what I want you to understand. You already have everything you need. The most sophisticated success system ever created is already installed in your mind. You don't need to add anything to yourself. You don't need to become someone different. You just need to learn how to use what you already have. Your subconscious mind is ready to serve your highest potential. It's been waiting for clear direction, consistent communication, and a compelling vision of who you're becoming. When you give it those things, when you finally learn to speak its language and work with its natural processes, there's literally no limit to what becomes possible. The question isn't whether you have the power to transform your life. The question is, are you ready to stop fighting against the most powerful ally you'll ever have and start learning how to work with it instead? Because once you make that shift, once you understand how to communicate with and direct your subconscious mind, you'll never again wonder why some people seem to have all the luck. You'll know the secret they know. You'll have access to the same power they have, and you'll finally understand that the only thing that was ever holding you back was not knowing how to use what was already inside you all along.